been watching them all night. And then you guys show up.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at the heroes and villains on our wish list for Marvel Rivals. We'll also be going over which class we think they'd best be suited for, and we tried to keep our list balanced across the three. Also, we aren't including any leaked characters on our list, so you won't see the likes of Captain Marvel or Deadpool.
Quite unfortunate.
That does it!
But before we dive into it, we publish new content all week long. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Ghost Rider.
Not even the pyre of hell itself can contain me.
Boasting one of the coolest designs of any Marvel character, Ghost Rider is a fan-favorite anti-hero in the company's roster. That design would really pop in the Marvel Rivals art style. More importantly, his hellfire abilities are almost begging to be translated into a duelist kit.
Pay for your sin.
My turn!
I'm cutting in! Make way for a professional.
Focus your strength against me.
His fire-based attacks could be used for a variety of ranges, as could his signature Inflamed Chain, which could also be used to pull players closer. And if you're wondering what his ult would be, we can already envision him bursting through opponents on his iconic motorcycle, leaving a trail of flames behind him. Man, we just want to strike fear in the hearts of enemy teams.
Look out below!
Juggernaut.
Who's that?
The Juggernaut.
Enhanced by an ancient deity with extreme strength and durability, the Juggernaut is a shoo-in for the Vanguard class. The primary goal of a Vanguard is to control the space, forcing opponents back and weakening their defenses. And honestly, there are few Marvel characters that feel like they take up as much space as Juggernaut. We could see him being adept at holding the line. Additionally, given the many destructible environments in the game's maps, it would be ridiculously fun to go charging through them. A passive ability to deal extra damage to structures would be a nice bonus. Plus, it would just be great to see some more villains on the lineup.
Sticks and stones will break my bones, but tanks will never hurt me. Now get out of my way.
Vision. One of the few big Avengers not already on the roster, we're sure there are a lot of people who want to see Vision added to the game. While he's known as an excellent fighter, we think his range of abilities, calculating mind, and personality would make him better suited for the strategist class over duelist. He can change his density, which could translate to extra health, so he can stick around longer to aid his team. The gem in his head can produce blasts, but the developers could easily make those helpful to teammates and harmful to enemies. We can see him being a better secondary healer than a primary one, like Adam Warlock or Rocket. Either way, we just want him. Rogue.
Power drink.
The Southern Belle of the X-Men, Rogue's abilities would make for an interesting kit. Sure, she can fly and has super strength, given she sapped those powers from Captain Marvel, but it's the nature of her mutant power that intrigues us most. Having a character who could copy an ability from someone on the enemy team could bring a lot of strategic elements. Think of it like Kirby's copy ability in Super Smash Bros., just in a team-focused hero shooter where using it could turn the tide of a fight.
Come on.
Regardless, her being known for brawling and her mutant ability being activated through touch means she would probably be put in the duelist class. But since she's so beefy and is one of the X-Men's tanks anyway, Vanguard wouldn't be out of the question. AntMan and Wasp.
Thankfully, I've got a little solution.
Two of the other big Avengers missing from the roster are Ant-Man and Wasp, and since they're usually paired together anyway, we figured we'd do the same. Admittedly, their size-changing abilities may be difficult to put into a team-based hero shooter, but if regulated and scaled back, they'd make for unique additions. One might think the ability to grow large would put them in the vanguard, but since they're better known for shrinking, that might be better suited for the strategist role, and used to get away from all the Iron Fist and Spider-Man players that constantly dive the healers. Their projectiles that change the size of objects could easily be adapted to harm enemies and buff allies. Maybe Ant-Man gets those, while Wasp gets her wrist blasters and the ability to fly. While we already have dual strategists in Cloak and Dagger, these founding members of the super team deserve to be included.
Scott, where are you? I've got Birch in my sight. Hurry!
I'm coming!
We're running out of time!
Miss Marvel. We know what you're thinking. Why put Miss Marvel in the game when we already have Mr. Fantastic? Both are very stretchy, but while he's a duelist, we think Kamala Khan would make an excellent vanguard. Her kit could be better suited to increasing in size, controlling space, and forcing the opposing team back. When she fights, she usually grows in height to gain the upper hand, and increases the size of those hands to boulders, knocking her enemies back and forth with ease.
Is this new? I'm giant!
We could see her ult being similar to Jeff's, flattening and stretching into a giant tarp, swallowing enemies into her mass, and dealing damage for a short period. She also has a minor healing factor, which could translate to her having a big health bar or ability to buff herself. Plus, she has close relationships with Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl, and we know that would make for some fun interactions. Daredevil.
You're welcome to follow me.
There's no denying the Man Without Fear would make for a strong hand-to-hand duelist that could even rival the annoyance of Iron Fist. However, there are other reasons that earn him this spot. One is that he's just incredibly cool, having grown more popular over the years thanks to Charlie Cox's live-action portrayal. Then, there are his superhuman senses, which we think could translate to a moveset unlike anyone else's. We'd imagine he'd be able to sense opponents behind walls, but we could also see the devs giving him an ability to read opponents from far away, checking health or ult charges to report to his team. This type of moveset, along with his weapon of choice, a baton that splits into two parts connected by wire that he can swing from, would make him an excellent diver. Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer has such a wide array of abilities he could almost fit into any class. But where we think he'd fit best is as a strategist. He already has the power to heal himself and other people or creatures. He can also absorb and manipulate energy, using it to different effects. One being the creation of force fields, which would naturally serve the support role well.
You win.
What would be really cool to see is how NetEase could adapt how he uses his board. Yes, he could fly around aiding his teammates, but it's also psychically linked to him, with him able to attack and even trap others within it. We're also sure his inclusion would come with an interesting background, since he's usually the herald of Galacta's father. Doc Ock.
You're fighting the wrong man. But have it your way.
We know a lot of players have Green Goblin on their wish lists, but we're going with a different Spidey villain. Doc Ock is also one of the more well-known Spider-Man rogues, and one we feel would make for a great Vanguard. With his 4 ultra-powerful extendable metal arms, you can bet he'd be fantastic for clearing an area, especially since he could theoretically attack multiple enemies at once.
It won't help! I know your weaknesses! I have no weaknesses!
Plus, depending on the range of these arms, Doc Ock could yank an annoying duelist trying to keep their distance into a team fight. No more of Moon Knight camping on a ledge, spamming onks and moonerang combos, or of Iron Man raining down damage from the safety of the sky while everyone is distracted. Since there are so many characters across the Marvel roster, let's give each class an honorable mention before we get to our final pick. Cyclops. His optic blasts would make for another great ranged duelist.
Take his visor before he starts up again.
No, don't! I surrender! Not.
Cosmo. This psychic pup could rival Jeff for cutest strategist hero.
A dog!
Yeah. She's a good dog.
Thanos. The biggest bad of the MCU would fit comfortably in Vanguard. And now for our final character, Nightcrawler. Of all the characters that could be added as a Marvel Rivals duelist, Nightcrawler walks the finest line of being incredibly fun to play as and incredibly annoying to face. There is so much potential here. He's a gifted fencer, able to deftly poke holes into any enemy he faces. His prehensile tail adds to his already acrobatic movement and speed, and he'd probably be another character to run up walls. Of course, it's his teleportation that makes us want him most. Imagine being able to pop up behind anyone on the opposing team, run them through with a sword, and make a quick escape before you can suffer any consequences. Plus, Nightcrawler's design is one of the coolest in comics. And since NetEase has so far been wonderful at adapting the comic style, we have no doubt Nightcrawler would look spectacular. But those are just our picks, and Marvel has an excessive catalog of heroes and villains. Who's the character you want added to Marvel Rivals the most? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Thought your kind were the good guys.
You killed those, Sugar. Now, you get me.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.